same dirty tricks, the same corruption that we've seen.
Sorry, it's my mom calling.
The movie begins with Rory, a somber man, confiding in his therapist, Dr. Donna. He openly admits that his failed marriage was entirely his fault and expresses no resentment towards his former wife. Rory's therapist probed gently, asking if there was any way to make things right. He hesitated before admitting that he believed the damage was beyond repair. His therapist pressed further, bringing up his son and the possibility of mending their relationship. Rory, however, struggled to articulate a response, unable to find a convincing reason to believe things could change. Later that evening, a group of men subjects a young man to a brutal interrogation, holding him underwater as he struggles and gasps for air. Desperate, the young man pledges to make things right.
I got a whole crew.
Later, a group of men gather at a bar, enjoying drinks in a relaxed setting. The mood shifts abruptly when Scalvo places a call to Mr. Kelly, instructing him to meet with Cobby, who happens to be at the bar. Kelly walks over, hands the phone to Cobby, and Scalvo's tone grows stern. He demands that Cobby leave the bar immediately if he's serious about securing a job. After ending his call, 3 men are engrossed in an intense discussion, a meticulously crafted plan to rob the mayor during an upcoming party for the party they will prepare. Meanwhile, Rory makes a bold demand. He insists on being paid exactly $32,480. No more, no less, even though his share exceeds $300,000. He remains adamant and threatens to abandon the operation if his terms aren't met. Reluctantly, the others agree to his demands, and the planning resumes. The scheme involves accessing the target through the water and navigating to where the cash is stored.
So,
Jackpot.
all goes well.
However, Rory remains uneasy, questioning the backup plan if the Chinese candidate, Mark Choi, wins and takes office as mayor. Despite the uncertainties, they proceed, sitting in a car to monitor the situation as their plan unfolds. The group thinks about their chances and sticks to their plan, making sure everything is organized. Rory and Cobby keep things relaxed, but Scalvo stays serious and takes charge, leading the way. While they are on the boat, it gets stuck and water starts flooding in. Despite the trouble, they manage to get out safely. Regrouping, they enter the restaurant wearing masks and armed with guns, expecting minimal resistance. To their surprise, the kitchen was bustling with a lot of staff, far more than the 6 they had anticipated encountering. Adjusting on the fly, Cobby took charge, directing the startled workers into the freezer to contain them. The group proceeded to the location where the money was supposed to be, only to discover it had already been cleared out in 2 prior pickups. Their delay had cost them the prize. As tensions mounted, a chef, armed with a gun, attempted to attack them, but Scalvo managed to overpower him. In the scuffle, however, Scalvo's mask slipped, exposing his face. Meanwhile, they entered another section of the building, where the mayor and several associates were gathered. They demanded valuables, jewelry, and gold. The mayor, Micheli, tries to hide his gold from his grandfather, but Scalvo observes him, commands him to put the gold in the bag. Chaos erupted as gunfire broke out, and the chief shoots one of the gang members, Scalvo, who tragically lost his life. Rory and Cobby manage to escape, but Cobby gets injured and is unable to move at first. Despite his condition, Cobby insists on taking the key from the police officer forcefully. As they drive, Cobby gets suspicious and stops the truck. Cobby tells Rory that someone is hiding in the back of their truck, but Rory doesn't believe him. When they open the truck, their worst fear comes true. They are met with gunfire. Meanwhile, at the scene of the robbery, a peculiar detective, Frank, arrived, inspecting the aftermath. He began questioning witnesses about the heist, and the mayor told him that his bracelet, which is a gift from his grandfather, is stolen by robbers. The 2 robbers run and steal a car to make their escape. Eventually, they arrived at their hideout. Rory calls Richie, one of their crew, and informs him that Scalvo is dead and Cobby is injured. He quickly adds that he needs his payment soon. Richie advises him to stay hidden and promises to send a doctor. Afterward, Detective Frank paid a visit to Richie, convinced that he had held valuable information about the robbers, specifically about Scalvo. Frank, well aware of Richie's influence and connections, pressed him, insisting that someone with his reach must know something about the men responsible for the mayor's robbery. Richie denied any knowledge of the robbers, a response that left Detective Frank visibly frustrated.
Was he a handsome guy?
Meanwhile, Rory and Cobby took refuge in a small house, unloading the stolen cash and gold bracelets as they waited for the doctor promised by Richie. While they waited, Rory opened up about his struggles, sharing the weight of his financial troubles, mounting debts, legal fees, and the strain it had placed on his relationship with his son and former wife. Cobby then shares with Rory how close he was with his brother and the strong bond they had. Their tense wait was interrupted when a man and a woman arrived, posing as doctors. They pretended to check on the injured robber, but were clearly more interested in the stolen goods. Disappointed by the relatively small amount of cash, their frustration shifted to intrigue when they noticed the gold bracelet, which seemed to hold particular value. Tensions escalated as guns were drawn, but the robbers revealed they had disrupted the house by causing a gas leak. This calculated move ensured that if anyone fired, they would all perish in the explosion. The threat gave the robbers the upper hand, allowing them to leave the building unscathed. Moments after their escape, the house erupted in flames, completely destroyed.
Fuck you guys!
Meanwhile, Richie informs his boss, Bessagai, that Detective Frank recently contacted him. He explains that the detective is searching for the two robbers because they stole the mayor's bracelet. Rory later returned to his therapist, Dr. Donna, showing up unannounced despite her busy schedule. She asked him to wait, but sensing the urgency in his demeanor, she stepped outside to talk. He suggested a bizarre and desperate idea, taking her as a hostage. Surprisingly, it was all a ruse they had arranged together. She had agreed to go along with the plan and accompanied them back to the hideout. There, Cobby laid out on a table. Though not an active doctor, the therapist revealed she had completed her residency in an emergency room. Introducing herself as Dr. Donna, she stepped in to help, despite the tense and dangerous circumstances. Dr. Donna began treating Cobby, engaging in a tense conversation with Rory during the process.
When you did that.
However, while appearing cooperative, she secretly called the police, convinced that even if Rory were arrested, his mental health record would prevent him from serving any significant jail time. Meanwhile, the police arrived and surrounded the building. Rory and Cobby made a desperate attempt to escape.
What are you feeling?
I'm disappointed.
To their surprise, Dr. Donna joined them in the car, declaring she wouldn't stand by and let them die. The escape turned chaotic as Rory drove recklessly at a speed determined to evade capture, with the police hot on their trail in a high-stakes pursuit. A police helicopter joined the pursuit. Rory maneuvered through the chaos, skillfully evading the numerous police cars trailing them. Against all odds, they managed to escape and headed toward Mr. Kelly's bar, hoping to find refuge. Frank gets to the bar, and everyone panics, trying to hide. Kelly shows up and calls them out. Instead of arresting anyone, he says he only wants the stolen bracelet back.
Look late.
After they return it, things take an unexpected turn. Kelly leaves with Dr. Donna, pretending she's a victim he saved from the robbers. Moments later, an explosion ripped through the bar. Miraculously, Rory and Cobby once again escaped unharmed, slipping away before the flames consumed the building. While traveling by a bus, they devised their next move, determined to rob the mayor again. Once they arrived in Boston, they executed their plan disguised as firefighters. Approaching the building with calculated precision, chaos erupted as the mayor was whisked away to safety, preoccupied with hurriedly stuffing cash into a bag. Rory and Cobby ascended the staircase, despite shouts from real firefighters trying to stop them. They pressed forward, passing the mayor as he was escorted out, and made their way to his office, shutting the door behind them. Inside, attorney Alan froze, still seated at his desk. Then, they quickly opened the safe, which was packed with stacks of money. As soon as they opened the safe, Alan attempted to negotiate with them, sensing an opportunity to save himself. Before anything could be settled, gunfire erupted outside, aimed directly at the office. Fortunately, they managed to avoid serious injury, with only Cobby wounded, sustaining a minor injury. Amid the chaos, a knock came at the door. Dr. Donna. Entering cautiously, she addressed Rory and Cobby. They all sat down as she began asking questions, her focus shifting to Rory. When she inquired about his state of mind, he admitted with quiet desperation that he didn't want to die. Cobby repeats Rory's sentiment, saying he didn't want to die either. Rory, overwhelmed, expressed a desire to turn himself in. However, Dr. Donna advised him to run instead. She then exited the office with Alan, leaving Rory and Cobby to execute their next move. The two robbers decided to cause a massive distraction, tossing the money out of the building. Chaos erupted as cash rained down on the streets, leaving both citizens and police bewildered. People scrambled to grab the bills, creating enough confusion for Rory and Cobby to make their escape. To add to the diversion, the mayor falsely claimed the money wasn't his, further complicating the situation. Seizing the opportunity, Rory and Cobby fled the scene, driving off in the fire truck, their escape plan executed flawlessly amidst the commotion. Their escape took a sudden turn when a truck collided with the fire truck, halting their progress. Detective Frank appeared, gun drawn, ready to put an end to their run. Cobby tried negotiating with the detective, but it seemed the attempt had failed when both he and Rory were seen locked in a prison cell. Meanwhile, at the airport, the mayor's plan to flee unraveled as police arrived to arrest him. With the corrupt mayor taken down, the Chinese candidate ascended to the position, becoming the new mayor. Back in the prison cell, Rory and Cobby were eventually released thanks to the evidence they had used earlier to strike a deal with the detective. However, they were unable to recover the stolen cash. Accepting their fate, the two parted ways, each heading off to face an uncertain future on their own. At the end, Cobby sought out Dr. Donna, perhaps looking for guidance, whereas Rory went to visit his son. As they stood face to face, words were unnecessary. They simply stared at each other. A silent exchange filled with emotion, regret, and a glimmer of hope for reconciliation. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.